Hello everyone and welcome to my monologue challenge, day 30. I did it, I guess. I haven't actually written my 30th monologue yet. I thought it'd be kind of fun to sort of share that process with all of you. I figured I'd just hop into it and show you kind of my process and talk you through what I do, what I've done every day for the last 30 days. So the first thing I do is I get my phone, and my fourth most visited site is a random word generator. And so I click on that. So I decided to go with 4, by the way. Because I went with 3 at the start, then I went up to 4, then I went up to 5. And 5 was just too much, and 3 felt like too little. 4 was kind of the sweet spot, I found. So anyway, I click 4, and this is crazy, it's my last day. Oh my god. But my 4 words are judge, nap, fever, and reader. Judge, nap, fever, and reader. So once I get my 4 words, I set my timer for an hour. Another reason I went with 4 words, that's really all I can fit at the top. 5 words, it was spilling off. I decided to limit myself, 1 for time, and 2, just so I don't go crazy or anything, to limit myself to just 2 pages, double spaced. Also, that felt like kind of the perfect length. It usually comes in around between a minute and 2.5 minutes, depending on how much I improv, which I do improv a lot while I'm acting them. Sometimes it depends on the monologue, and also I kind of sometimes realize that it doesn't have exactly what it needs while I'm acting it. So then I'll sort of rewrite it, quote unquote. So yeah, actually writing this monologue, because I do need to do that because I am on the clock. So with these, I sort of try to find, I guess, a connection between the words to start, or one word that really jumps out at me. So, of course, I'm drawn to judge, because judge, that's already a sort of a character in the story. That's going to be a person, either me as the reader, or someone that I'm probably referring to. So that automatically sort of draws my eye. And then I see a connection between judge, nap, and fever, that perhaps maybe an important judge had a fever and then slept through a case or something. And then reader, and that's something I can kind of work into the monologue later on, possibly, in the story. But then usually I'll try to find the voice, because I'm reading for it. So I try to find my in to it. So I try to find like something that's fun to play around with, because I'll have to act it. So I'm thinking judge, nap, fever. Well, now as I look at these, I'm sort of seeing like a sort of a person who's outraged at this judge. Because there's a couple routes to take this. I kind of always, when it comes down to these, I always think of whether I want to go comedic or dramatic, like absurd, or like an actual like sort of like meaty monologue, I guess. Like yesterday was more dramatic, but I go comedic a lot, somewhat as a defense mechanism. It's true. I like doing comedic. Like, it's not like it's sort of like, oh, I'm like, but I do sometimes hesitate to go the dramatic route and take it too seriously. But with this, because I could go the comedic route of sort of like, sort of like Patrick Stewart-esque judge that's sort of like, or like an Ebenezer Scrooge sort of type. And that's like, sort of out to lunch and talks about how he has a fever and that he needs a nap and blah, 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 blah. Or I could go sort of like an upstart rebellion sort of thing that, like, this judge is causing a disease in our courts, and I am fired up, blah, 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 blah. So, like, there's, like, 2 routes that I'm seeing off the bat. But I'm also drawn to the rhyme and reader and fever. And this is sort of the point where, usually this happens in about 3 minutes, but because I'm talking through it, it's going to take a little bit longer. But usually I just make a decision, and then I just start writing. And so that's probably what I'm going to do now. But that's sort of like the overall process, and I might click this back on as I go through it. But I'm gonna hop away for a second. So I accidentally spent 40 minutes working on writing this because I kind of got in my head because it's the last one and I wanted it to be good. I decided to go in a completely different route than I had anticipated. I'm also gonna start moving you. I'm going vlog style. Oh, I look kind of spooky in this lighting. Yeah, I decided to go a completely different route than originally anticipated. I kind of wanted it to be a poem just because I like doing poems. And it felt sort of fitting. I hadn't done one since like day 17 or something like that. So I felt like it'd be good to end it on all that. And as I got writing, I had like one line that sort of came to me as the start of the poem, and so I kind of grew it from there. And once I had that sort of idea, I couldn't get it out of my head. So I just decided to go with it. Then I was like, oh, I'm running out of time. I gotta actually start recording it. And the thing is, I gotta like set up the lights and everything, because I only have about probably like 17 minutes left. This is probably the longest I've spent writing. And I'll show you sort of how all over the place it was. You can see all those things that I crossed out and all that. I really got stuck at some points. So, without further ado, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. God. Alright. So yeah, this is my monologue challenge day 30, and just a reminder, this is a challenge where I write, act, film a monologue all in 1 hour, and I gave myself 4 words, yet again, to give me some ideas, and my 4 words for today, as I mentioned earlier, were judge, nap, fever, and reader. And this is what I came up with. I'm gonna just like read it through. I'm just gonna read it through once on this, and then I'm gonna like record it vertically. So if you want to see the actual thing, then click on over to that. But if you just want to see my first read of it out loud, then this is great for that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy. Who am I to judge the reader? Those delightful chosen few who for a second relieve my boiling fever by watching, reading, or listening to the gentle ramblings of someone who, without you, might be described as insane, worthy of his self-imposed exile to the lunatic asylum that is Los Angeles, a city of stars where the stars don't shine. But I think I know why the reader reads. Sometimes a different world is really what we need. And I go there every day just so I can invite you along to play. So let's daydream. Let's nap about spaceships, drama, and screens. These worlds that no one else can see except for you and except for me. It's a collective vision. I write the words, you paint the picture. So no, reader, I'll never leave you. I'll never judge you. And I'll never fear you. But I will always miss you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna quickly do a wrap up before I turn this vertically. It might go a little bit over an hour, but I did technically get this in an hour. I just wanted to wrap this all up by saying that this challenge has honestly meant a lot to me. I didn't know if I could do it, and there were times where I didn't want to do it. I've mentioned that in previous videos, but after I sort of got over that hump, I realized that this is just so much fun. And you know, I mentioned earlier that I've sort of posted up through day 7 at this point, and you know, they don't have any views or anything, but the people who have reached out to me and who have you know, said that they like them, or that, you know, I've had people say that like that it was sort of like it did resonate with them, like that first video I talked about, like being sort of in a rut, or people being like, oh, it's really cool that you're doing this, like that all has kind of meant the world, really. And it kind of reinforces like why I did it. It wasn't like, and why I'm posting it, I guess. Like, not really why I did it, but why I'm posting it. It was sort of like for people that were in similar spots to me in terms of like their own personal journeys, and hoping that this could inspire someone else to do the same, because I have found it immensely helpful. I've talked to a lot of people. I've caught up with a lot of people from college recently, and everyone has sort of similarly felt in a rut, and yet a lot of people are also coming out of that rut around now, around April, March, of being in their first year graduated, and I finally feel that too. And I think it is really, this challenge really, I don't know. It inspired me. I was watching this, I watch like a lot of self-help YouTube. And there was, something I heard before, but I heard it this morning, that, you are kind of what you do in every aspect of your life. How you tackle any problem is how you will tackle every problem, And so me going out and saying, I'm just going to do this, has inspired me and reminded me of what I want to do with my life. And it's reminded me of that I can just go and do it. And that I have the power to sort of control my own path. And it's given me a lot of ownership over that. And it's inspired me. It really has. And it's strange that it's sort of coming to an end now, but I don't think I'll stop doing it entirely. And I'm definitely not stopping to write, because this notebook is not only filled with monologues, it is also filled with the outline and notes for a screenplay I'm working on. And this will be my first feature-length screenplay that I've written in over a year. And I know I can do it, and I know then that I can go make it. I have that sort of rejuvenated faith in myself. I wrote at the top of my board when I was coming up with notes and stuff, and like preliminary ideas for the script, like probably a couple weeks ago now. And I just wrote, I am making this, all in caps. And I sort of lost that faith in myself. And I feel like I've found it again. I don't know if it's I don't think it's entirely due to this challenge. But I do think a large part of it is. And I also look back now, because I filmed and edited through day 29, even though they're not all posted yet. And I just see all these, I look at all the thumbnails and I look at all that, and I'm like, wow, this is off kilter. Sorry if it was. I look at all these things and I'm like, wow, I made like 60 to 90 minutes of my writing. I made that in a month. Even though it's just me standing in front of a camera, but 60 to 90 minutes of my original writing that wouldn't have existed without this challenge. It's just out in the world. And I just did that. It's made me realize that I can just do this for the rest of my life, because it's just a choice to do it. No matter what else is going on in my life, I can sit down for 30 minutes to an hour every day, and I can do it. I also felt myself becoming a better actor as well, and because I got to see myself on film every day, which I hadn't been doing self-tapes for a while, and I could see the difference growing as I did this every day. And so that's another thing, not just the writing, but the acting. And so I definitely grew. I could see myself getting better near the end of this all. I mean, maybe I'm just making it up, but I could see a sort of a big difference between like day 1 and day 2 and day 20 and day 25, and that's cool. I definitely feel like I got better over the course of this 30-day challenge. Really, in conclusion, it did exactly what I hoped it would, and even more so than I thought it would. And it's given me a rejuvenated love for writing and storytelling, and a rejuvenated faith that I can make these stories come to life. And I lost that for a while, and it really It's very exciting that it's back. I'll see you later. Not tomorrow. Thank you.